From translation, NIV New International Version, this 160th day of the year, today we are reading passages, Job 29-31, Job chapter 29, verses 1 to 25. Job continued his discourse. How I wish my days were already past, my months were ended, and I were at rest. I would rest in peace, I would find undisturbed rest. As I was in the prime of my days, when the friendship of God was over my tent, when the Almighty was still with me, when my children were around me, when my steps were bathed in butter, and the rock poured out for me streams of oil. When I went to the gate of the city, when I took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. The chief men refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with their hands. The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me, because I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had no one to help them. The dying who were about to perish came to me because I said, I will surely live. I put on righteousness as my clothing, justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the jaws of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. I thought, I shall die with my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the sand. My root is spread out to the waters, and the dew lies all night on my branches. Yet my hope is in you alone. I will not be put to shame. My integrity will protect me, because I have integrity. I will be blameless before you. Men and women will say, Job has not sinned or done any evil. Others will mock me, but I will not be shaken. I am not intimidated by mockers, nor am I disturbed by insults. I am so bold as to speak to a king, and I am not afraid of what I say. Job chapter 30, verses 1 to 25. But now those younger than I mock me, whose fathers I would have disdained to put with my sheep-dogs. What strength do their hands have? What use are their thighs to me? For men who are destitute and hungry nor the dry ground at night in the wasteland. They gather salt weeds from the shrubs, and the roots of the broom for their food. They are driven from human society. They cry after others as they go along the streets. Gutter dwellers they are, living in the clefts of the rocks. Bray among the bushes under the nettles, they are huddled together in the shelter. A brood of nameless sons, they are beneath contempt. Now they mock me in song, I am a byword among them. They detest me and keep their distance. They do not hesitate to spit in my face. Because God has made me a byword, and I am mocked by all, because the righteous are struck down with the wicked, and the innocent are killed with the guilty. Their tents are filled with possessions, those who once were rich have nothing left. Now they crush me down to the ground, they besiege me all day long. Wounded I cannot escape, my eyes fail in despair. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer me. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You have become cruel to me, with your strong hand you oppose me. You lift me up on the wind and make me ride on it. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed for all the living. Surely mockers surround me, my eyes must gaze at their hostility. You have turned my friends against me, you have made me repulsive to them. My eyes have failed from weeping. I keep looking for my help, but there is none. For I am allotted death as a man, I am doomed to die like a rotten shepherd's tent. Surely now he will recall that you are not cut from the same cloth as mortals, but you will die, and you will live on in the hands of the Almighty. Job chapter 31, verses 1 to 37. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a woman. For what is my portion from God above? What heritage from the Almighty on high? Is not calamity for the wicked, disaster for those who do evil? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? If I have walked with falsehood, or if my foot has hastened to deceit, let me be weighed on honest scales, so that God will know my integrity. If my step has turned from the path of my heart, if my eyes have followed my hands, then let me reap it and share its cost with others, for I have denied the poor what they desired. If my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, then may my wife be subjected to others, let other men sleep with her. For that would be a heinous crime, for that would be a sin to be punished by judges. It is a fire that burns to destruction, it would have uprooted all my harvest. If I have rejected the cause of my male or female servants when they had a grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? What answer will I give when he calls me to account? Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Did not the same one form us both in the womb? If I have denied the poor what they desired, or have let the eyes of the widow grow weary, if I have kept my bread to myself, eaten it without sharing it with the fatherless, but from my youth I reared him as a father would a son, and from my mother's womb I guided her. If I have seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing, or a needy man without a garment, and have not clothed him, orphans with no one to care for him, and if his loins have not blessed me, and if he was not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, for I saw my help in the city gate, then let my arm fall from the shoulder, let my arm be broken off at the joint. If I have put my trust in gold or said to pure gold, you are my security. If I have rejoiced because my wealth was great, because my hand has gained so much, if I have looked at the sun when it shone, or at the moon moving in splendor, and if my heart has been enticed by my mesmerizing desire, so that I have coveted the splendor of my prosperity, that would have been a heinous crime, for it would have been an iniquity to be punished by judges. If I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune or gloated over the trouble that came to him, I have not allowed my mouth to sin by asking for his life with a curse. If the men of my household have never said, who has not filled his belly with Job's food? If the stranger has not stayed outside, for I have opened my doors to the traveler, if I have concealed my sin as people do, by hiding my guilt in my heart, because I feared the crowd and so dreaded the contempt of the clans that I kept silent and did not go outside, if I have eaten my share alone, and the fatherless has not eaten from it, for from my youth I reared him as a father would a son, and I have guided her from my mother's womb, if I have kept silent, if I have not gone outside, or if I have withheld from the poor what they desired,